Good evening, and thank you for joining the City of Mercer Island's Economic Development Vision online workshop. I am Adam Zach, Senior Planner with the Department of Community Planning and Development. Joining us tonight are Interim CPD Director Jeff Thomas, CPD Deputy Director Allison Van Gorp, Economic Development Coordinator Sarah Bluvis, Ann Mueller, Michelle Ellsworth, Lisa Gruder, and John Todoroff from Burt Consulting. We'll begin tonight by giving a brief presentation on the comprehensive plan, the plan update, and the economic development element drafting process. We'll have poll questions to gather your feedback on an economic development vision, the strengths and weaknesses the city should focus on when drafting the new economic development element. Next slide, please. If you have questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A function in Zoom. We'll set aside time at the end of the presentation to answer your questions. Please use the chat feature if you're having technical difficulties, and we'll work with you to troubleshoot the issue. Next slide, please. This is the city's first community workshop on the economic development element. The feedback you provide tonight will be presented to city decision makers for them to consider as they draft the economic development element for the comprehensive plan. Your input will help the city articulate a vision for economic development, identify existing strengths in the Mercer Island economy that we can build on as we plan for the future, and highlight aspects of the Mercer Island economy that need a revamp or improvement in the coming years. There will be more opportunities to provide input on the economic development element throughout the comprehensive plan update, including an online survey that will be available throughout the month of July. Next slide, please. We'll begin by looking at what a comprehensive plan is. The comprehensive plan is a document that articulates the vision, goals, and policies the city has adopted to prepare for the expected changes in the next 20 years. The vision describes where the plan will guide the city. Goals or objectives that we will pursue on the way to realizing the vision, and policies outline the actions and strategies the city will undertake to achieve our goals. The comprehensive plan coordinates the city's actions to ensure that as things change over time, those changes are consistent with the community's vision and goals. The plan policies guide the development that occurs in the city by shaping the regulations and standards in the city code. The goals and policies also guide other decisions that affect city programs, budget, and capital improvements. Next slide, please. The current comprehensive plan includes an introduction and 6 elements. Elements are topic-specific sections of the plan that establish the goals and policies for that topic. For example, the land use element has goals and policies specifically addressing land use issues in the city, whereas the transportation element addresses infrastructure. The elements must all be internally consistent so that the city avoids goals or policies that work at cross purposes. The goals and policies lay out the guidance for drafting regulations and developing programs to make sure that these decisions align with our community's vision. During the comp plan update currently underway, the city will draft and adopt a new economic development element of the comprehensive plan. Adopting an economic development element will allow the city to further articulate the vision, goals, policies, and actions it will undertake to support the local economy in the coming years. We'll talk more about the new element later in the presentation. Next slide, please. The city is currently in the process of updating its comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan helps ensure that as expected growth and change occur, the city is adequately prepared. Because the comprehensive plan addresses those changes that can be expected in the future, it must be updated periodically to ensure that assumptions about those changes are realistic and that the city is adequately planning for the next 20 years. Under the state law, the city is required to plan for a 20-year period called a planning horizon. The city last updated its comprehensive plan in 2016, and that update extended the planning horizon through the year 2035. The update currently underway will be completed by 2024 and extend the planning horizon through the year 2044. Next slide, please. The current comprehensive plan update will be a targeted surgical update. The city will focus on the technical updates required to extend the planning horizon through the year 2044. It's important to note that during this plan update, no changes to residential zoning or density are expected. The majority of amendments planned for this update will be minor adjustments to ensure that the comprehensive plan remains up to date. There are two aspects of the plan that update that are expected to include more substantial updates. The housing element goals and policies will be refined to ensure that the city is planning for any changes in housing needs identified in the housing needs assessment. The housing needs assessment is a technical report the city is currently developing that will help determine what, if any, housing goals and policy amendments might be needed. I'll point out one more time that no changes to our residential zoning or density are expected during this comprehensive plan update. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, the city will prepare an economic development element of the comprehensive plan. This will be a new element of the plan to articulate the city's vision, goals, and policies for supporting the local economy. We've asked you here tonight to get your first take on some of the issues surrounding economic development in the city. Next slide, please. The city's comprehensive plan is shaped by state law, regional planning efforts, and countywide planning policies. The Growth Management Act, or GMA, is a statewide framework that requires cities and counties in Washington to adopt comprehensive plans. The GMA lays out the baseline requirements for what must be included in every comprehensive plan in the state. The GMA serves an important function, making sure that comprehensive plans are consistent throughout the state and that cities and counties are prepared for the projected growth in the coming years. The Puget Sound Regional Council, a regional planning agency, establishes a vision for the 4 counties in the central Puget Sound region. That's King, Pierce, Snohomish, and Kitsap counties. That vision, called Vision 2050, informs the King County's countywide planning policies, which establish a framework for cities throughout King County as they update their comprehensive plans. The countywide planning policies ensure that the planning throughout the county is coordinated by setting growth targets for cities and towns in King County. Next slide, please. This includes the growth targets that have been set for Mercer Island. The growth targets are allocations of housing and employment growth expected in the next 20 years, distributed among the cities in King County. The targets are a set of assumptions the city must use as we update our plan. As the city plans for the future, we must make sure that we are able to accommodate 1,239 new housing units and 1,300 new jobs by the year 2044. The city is not required to provide those houses or jobs, but must make sure that the plan allows for that amount of growth through the 20-year period. The comprehensive plan currently allows for adequate growth to accommodate the growth targets, both the housing and employment growth targets. As a result, no changes to zoning or density in response to the growth targets are expected during the comprehensive plan update. Next slide, please. So that concludes the comprehensive plan background section of the presentation. Just a quick reminder, if you have questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A feature in Zoom, and we'll get to your questions at the end of the presentation. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Ann Mueller from Burke for the next section of the presentation.
Good evening. Thank you, Adam. My name is Ann Mueller, and I'm with Burke Consulting, and I'm here with some of my colleagues tonight to help support the city with their public outreach effort, which is one of the paramount things we need to do to help us update the comprehensive plan. I want to just thank everyone for being here tonight. I'm going to go through the next few slides quickly. It's a beautiful day outside, but we have some polling questions coming up that we want to get input on from everyone that took the time to come and join us tonight, because everyone here is either a worker, works on the island, or lives on the island, or both. I have a feeling. So we're all part of the community. We want to hear from everyone. One of the first things we're doing at the beginning of this process, it's going to last for the next 2.5 years, is tonight's workshop. And we're going to do some polling, and then we will be launching tomorrow a survey for the whole community. City staff has also been interviewing stakeholders, and we'll touch on that a little bit further. But we need to hear from the public in order to help shape what the economic development element is going to look like and what the vision will be there. It's a vital and necessary part of this development and of any comp plan update. So it's important for us to have public input, and we hope that you can let your neighbors and other community members know about this and know about the website and how they can participate. So we'll go into that a little bit more. Next slide. Oh, and that's where we are. We will going out to 2024. Again, this is our first gathering as a community for the workshop, and we will come back and see you 2 more times next year. We are going to be taking comments we receive, and those will be looked at. The public input will be looked at by city staff, and there is a economic development work group that consists of 2 planning commissioners and 3 city council members. And they will work using the input to develop the economic development element that will look at how the city's economy, commercial areas will grow or change over the next 20 years. Why is there a new element? In the last few years, there's always been discussion in the comp plan about economic development, and maybe not using that words, but talking about the town center and how it should develop in other areas. But the city council decided it was a priority, one of their priorities, and they wanted to develop this new element and include that in there. It's also something that's encouraged by Growth Management Act, and Vision 2050 also has some supporting help to help the cities throughout the region develop their economic development element that fits each individual community, because every community in the county is different, obviously. So why are we doing this too? We're doing this because we want to start with the vision, the big picture. We don't want to start with the small details. So by taking the community's input and getting it from a wide spectrum of people in the community, people who work here, people who live here, people who own businesses here, we can start to formulate what the strengths and weaknesses are of this. And can you do the next slide? This is here it is. So as I mentioned before, there is one goal now currently, and it's housed in the land use element, and it's been there for a long time. It's not a recent goal. I think it's been there. I know it's been there for over 30 years. And it talks about supporting the future economic development of Mercer Island, and particularly in the town center. And this is an opportunity now for the city to look at a holistically comprehensive, like different areas of the city that do have commercial growth and what we can do and what they want to become. So the first step is to articulate a vision. And we want you and other community members to start thinking about, what do you want to become in the framework of economic and commercial areas, and where that should be, how it should be, and what the city should focus on. And once we get a vision, then we can start working on the different policies and goals and strategies to implement and get to that vision over the next 20 years. This was touched on by Adam already, is that the economic development has different information in it. One of the things that's in there is data. And we're going to show you in the next few slides some examples of data. But they also have an economic analysis being developed currently that will help support staff and the work group and the public. It will be shared with the public, that they can see what information is out there pertinent to Mercer Island and its place in the region. And then we want to find out about trends. We'll find out from some of those from you, and also some of those that they will see shared with the economic analysis. And then looking at the community and stakeholder input to identify strengths, to identify opportunities for improvements in areas you want to focus and areas you don't want to focus. This shows some highlights that were provided by the interviews that were conducted by city staff at the beginning of this year, and what they got out of it. Lots of people have different inputs, but there were some consistent themes that came up. Strong connection between the business community and the larger community could be strengthened. there was a desire for more goods and services shared. There was a feeling that there was some challenges to the regulation permitting process, and maybe there's some assistance that could be provided, and that it was a very car-centric design in some of the commercial areas that could be improved upon. So next slide, please. Here's some examples of data. These are just snapshots. This is taken from the one on your left, is something from the US Census Bureau. It's an American community survey. It's an estimate taken over a 5-year period, and it looks at specifically Mercer Island. And you can see from 2011 to 2015 and compare it to 2016 to 2020. And then we'll be able to look at it as you move forward. You can always see changes and things that stay the same and things that surprise you or don't surprise you. So that will be in there. It gets updated as more information is released and more surveys are done each year. And it's a sampling survey. There's also the Mercer Island median home price that we grabbed some information from. This is provided. There's different sources of this that you can find out there. We are using, just as an example, a Washington Center for Real Estate Research that's housed at the UW, and they provide to different city jurisdictions an analysis of information sort of for consistency on what the median home price was for the last few years. And of course, we don't have data yet for 2001. That should be coming soon too. And that will be contained in the economic development element. Next slide, yeah. Here's another example that some people find interesting. This just shows, and this information will inform you, the community, about what you could leverage or what you can see as concern. This just shows, and I don't think this is probably a surprise to anyone, but there are 6,000 people that come to the island to work. And there are 9,000 people that live on the island and leave to go to work. So their location is outside, and that may have changed with the pandemic. That will be interesting to see how that changes if people are working at home more. But only 914 people are identified as both living and working on the island. So that's just an interesting thing that I think it's unique for Mercer Island, that they have so many people that leave and come in, and people work here, don't necessarily live here. So I think next slide. Okay, now we're going to get close to the polling, and I want to encourage everyone to please participate. Like I said, you've all have an interest in the community at one level or another, and we want to hear from you. There is the option to be answered anonymously if you want to. We have enabled that. We're focusing on the 3 main commercial areas on the island. We have Mercer Island Town Center, and I'm sure you all know this, but that we identified some key places on the island for orientation if you're not used to looking at from a bird's eye perspective. We're also looking at the commercial office center that is next to City Hall, and around City Hall it has the French American School over there. And then we're also looking, when you think about what the vision will be, we want to make sure we're touching on everything and not just focusing on one area or another. The South End Shopping Center that is near Pioneer Park, and also has a variety of small businesses and a grocery store down there. So I'm going to start. We're going to start up with some warm up questions just to get to know you. And if you can start that up. If you have any questions, I have a question. Do we want to stop, and do I need any of the questions need to be addressed? I just want to make sure no one has a question before we start.
Yeah, there are 3 in the Q&A.
Can they wait till the end? Or
I can read them if you want. Okay. They go back to some of the information shared earlier.
Okay.
One question has to do with where the growth target mentions new homes. Where would those 1,000 new homes be located? And a related question is, how will the city increase affordable housing on the island to ease the housing crunch and help to address homelessness?
I'll let Adam or Allison talk to that. I know that I think Adam pointed out that there is a housing element that will be worked on, and there'll be more discussion about that. The identification of that will be looked at. As he's pointed out, you have the density in your existing zoning to accommodate that. And I believe the current plan talks about most of it being accommodated in the town center. And I think that's something they'll be examining, how they're going to do that, and if any changes need to happen there. And I think the affordability issue will also be discussed more in depth. I think it's definitely a part of the economic development discussion, but I think the details will be sort of delved into there. Oh, go ahead. Sarah, would you like to talk?
No, sorry, I was just clearing the questions. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Okay.
The
And then your
second-
question.
Oh, the second question, Anne, was about the state of the economic development on the island today. I think some of your slides kind of gave a snapshot of the kind of data that is being developed.
Yes, and the city is in the process of having another consulting firm work with them to sort of delve into the details of what's out there, data that's easily to get to, and then what they need to sort of go in and look at more closely. So that will be something that we'll be seeing in the next few months, maybe next fall, I think is when they're targeting to look at that and share that with the public and the work group, just to start that too. I hope that answers that question. So let's start the polling. Okay. Oh, and people have already answered. So that's great. Thank you. And please answer if you, there's more of you on than have answered it. Sure no one else wants to answer. So this just lets us know that, as you can see, most people that are attending live on the island, and most people attending also work on the island. So it's just an interesting thing. And then did everyone go down to the next choice, the slide down, which was, are you business owners? So we don't have a lot of those that are attending, but thank you for those attend. So our next question is going to talk about your priorities. Oh, sorry, supporting economic development. That's going to be the next one. This is just looking at what economic development means. Economic development is encouraging jobs, prosperity, and business activities. And it means different things in different places and different people when you hear that, depending on your perspective as a resident, a business owner, a worker, or customer. We want to talk about intentionally supporting economic development in the city. And we want to know what that means to you. And we gave you some choices on here. We understand that there are people that might feel like we didn't capture it. So there's an opportunity for you to ensure that at the bottom if you want to expand on that some more. We will be able to see which, Allison, we will be able to see the answers that people check when we're done, but we won't be able to see what the others were, but we will include that in our summary of the meeting later. Just leave it up there for a few more people to answer if they want to. Michelle, do you think we have all the people are going to answer?
We have about 40% participated, but I'm happy to end the poll to share some results.
I encourage everyone to, yes, let's share it.
Oh, now we're seeing a lot more.
Oh, okay. Please
Nice little uptick.
We'll wait a few minutes. This is just a fun activity. It's just a starting point. So we can see this is a small group of people and we all have different opinions. So it's an opportunity to see this now in this poll. Our survey, we hope to reach a larger audience, and it has different questions, but similar, asking for the same information. We just want to get a first touch on what we're hearing out there from the people that came here tonight. Okay. So about 80% want to see more businesses. There's people that want to, I think everyone got. So, and then other, and again, we we can't see the other until afterwards when we do the reporting. So that's your number of living wage jobs. Okay, so the next one. This is your strengths and opportunities. This is things that we just checked a couple of different ones that we thought could be strengths and assets that Mercer Island has. And we want to hear back from people about whether they agree, if they think they are, the choices that you'll have is this is an existing strength and we should emphasize it when we talk about it in the economic development. It should be a focus, and or it's not maybe a strength, but it's an opportunity to improve. Or it's okay, but we still need to improve it. And then there's really nothing to improve there. It is what it is, and we should not, it shouldn't be a focus. And well, there should be no priority put on it, but they don't want to discount it. And then the other one is should not be a focus if you don't feel that that's something that is right for Mercer Island's character in the commercial developments. And there's quite a few to answer, so I'll give you some time to go through those. And if anyone has difficulty reading this, because I did hear that it is a little bit light, but we don't have any ability to make it bold. We looked into that. You can.
I see that a couple people are saying they're having trouble finding the poll questions. Make sure that the window's not hiding behind another window on your screen. Sometimes it pops up behind. I've noticed that. Other than that, I'm not sure why it wouldn't be showing up.
If you saw the very first one and now you're not seeing the subsequent one, it probably means that your Zoom is not updated. These are, there's some multi-question, and these have a little bit more complexity to them. They're ranked order types of questions, and you won't be able to see them if you have a Zoom from like early last year in 2021. So that's a possibility, and I apologize for that if you're able to drop off and come back. But I will say we are asking very similar questions in our survey, which we'll talk about at the very end, that you can touch on these same comments, and you can always email us if you want to talk about, but I'll let you know. This is just, we're asking about, do people feel arts and culture is a strength or an opportunity for improvement or should not be a focus? Is business friendly local government, creative entrepreneurial population, the character of commercial areas, the existing business community, strengthening business organizations and networking, leveraging the new transit station, leveraging the location of Mercer Island is that's central in the King County and on I-90. And if there's a community-minded business island. So we're just asking people where they think the focus should be for this. I think we're ready to move on. Michelle, do we have a pretty good? Okay. So this just shows, I'm going to show you, if you scroll down, it tells you which ones. So if it's an existing strength, it's that teal color. If it's an opportunity for improvement, it's the orange. If you don't think there's any improvement is necessary, it will be that dark blue. And if it should not be a focus, it'll be the lighter blue. And it looks like, just for example, the most opportunity for improvement I see is the existing business community. And also we can improve the business friendliness of the government too, and the permitting and licensing is what I'm guessing that's targeting. And let's see if anything else. Yep. Existing strength is the leveraging the location in the central location in King County. So I think we can move on to the next one. So this is just, you'll take a really short time to just sort of, hopefully you've thought about this, you'll hear what we're we're trying to develop a vision. We want to find out, we want it to be unique and focused on Mercer Island. So tell us 1 or 2 things that would make the commercial areas of Mercer Island more appealing to you as a resident, you as a business owner, or the visitors and customers. So we're trying to think what needs to be improved there. If there's something that you could think of that, and you can look at any of the 3 commercial areas, focus on those. And these answers will give you a minute to do that. We can't show them because they're customized, but they will be in the summary report that will come out. Michelle, let me know when you think we have like maybe 10 people, or at least half the group.
Absolutely, will do. We currently have 2 of 15, so 13% participated. Thank you so much for your responses thus far.
Hopefully people are thinking about this and we'll write something down. We have a couple more coming up. Should we move on, or people want some more time?
Currently at 60%.
Oh,
so
good. I'll be a little patient. And all this will be publicly shared, and it will be shared definitely with the working group and with the Planning Commission later on, so people can see how this information was taken along with the stakeholder information and the comments that they get sent in. Allison, do you want to answer a question live? So we're waiting.
Oh,
It's a bump.
already answered Gary Robinson's question. And
oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I think we're ready to close.
And for anyone who couldn't see the poll question, since it was simple, I typed it into the chat so people could see it and they can respond in the chat if you can't access the poll.
Okay. The next one. Okay, so this one's this is if you don't have the most up-to-date one, you might not be able to see this one either. So I'll read it out loud. It's a ranking one where we ask people to let us know if they think it should be a high priority, a low priority, or a medium priority, or not important, or you just don't have an opinion. Maybe it's not. And we've tried to formulate these so that the question can be answered both from thinking about as a resident and also thinking about as a business owner, because both of you have different paradigms you may be thinking of this as. So the question is, following are examples of economic development topics that could be addressed in the new economic development element. Please share your opinion below on what priority each should be given in the new element. And it just allows an opportunity for you to say which one you think are important. It's similar to the last one, but this is about topics. And the topics we asked for feedback on are ability to hire qualified employees, availability of affordable housing and the cost of living, communication and cooperation among the businesses, community character, business attraction, business retention and expansion, business incubation or looking at new business startup costs, the lack of local places to shop or find entertainment, improving the quality of construction and design of commercial and mixed-use buildings. And again, we know there's other priorities out there. We just were pulling some up that we could think of that we've heard we've heard from the community and the stakeholders. This is quite a few questions, so we're going to give people And by rank ordering the choices, we just, that's just the type of question, and that's what they call the ranking is. You think the rank would be, is it a high priority, a low priority, a medium priority, or not important, or an opinion? And that's what we mean by ranking it, letting us know that way. We don't have the ability with the tool on Zoom to actually let you put 1, 2, 3, or 4 to do that. So I think we're okay. We can move on to the next one. It's interesting. So if you can see this, it shows that a high priority, lots of them have a high priority. Looks like, if I'm looking at this, it looks like the lack of local places to shop and find entertainment is definitely a place that should be a high priority. Business retention and expansion and business attraction. There was, and the rest had sort of a little bit of everything. I'm trying to think, medium. I think improving the quality of construction and design of construction had a lot of high and medium priorities. It seems like that's a really important thing. And the rest had a little bit of everything from people. If you can see that, I'm sort of saying this out loud in case you can't see this information. I think we're good to go to the next one. I think the next one is a, let's see. This is one, if you don't have the updated version of Zoom, it is a fill in the blank, and we're asking, and like Lisa said, you can also add this into the chat if you'd like to, what your answer to this is. But we just want sort of the snapshot. If you could share with 1, 2, we'll even allow you to 3 words that best describe what your vision is for the economic future of Mercer Island, and sort of looking out at like a 20-year horizon. What would you like to see as it relates to the economy and the economic offerings on Mercer Island? I'd like to hear that from you. Short and succinct in this one. Oh, and you'll see that Lisa just added that into the chat if you want to add that. And if you want to provide a longer one, we do have, you can always send that in a, I'll share the email for public comment, and there's an option to go onto the web site and enter it as a tab form there. And the survey that's coming out also touches on this too. You can share it with us there too. How are we doing, Michelle? Oh. And thank you for those of you that are adding it into the chat.
We have about 50% who have participated.
Okay. Short. It's a short, quick question. It doesn't have, it's just one thing or 2 things. Just lets staff and the work group know sort of what people are thinking overall, at least as a start here. We have about 25 people that are registered here tonight. I just saw that question pop up. Okay, so we'll go on to the next one because we can't really share that with you. Again, it's an answer that we can't compare. Our next one is about off-island shopping and services, and we're really curious about what are 2 primary reasons why you shop or get services off-island, or you use the internet and you order it online. And I will read these off to those of you that might not. And if you have another reason you want to share with us in chat, or we do have a blank spot later on, you can add it in there too. But we're looking for 2 just to prioritize this, the 2 reasons that you think or you want to share with us that you don't shop on island. And those could be the product or service is not available on Mercer Island, the selection is better elsewhere, the product or service is too expensive on Mercer Island, the convenience or proximity to another activity, i.e. it's closer to your work and you stop at off-island stores or get a service off-island, or you have friends that you go to and you visit and do your shopping or something there. The next one was it's a reason to visit family or friends in another community, a social reason. And then maybe you don't shop off island or you prefer home delivery and you order from off island to have it delivered to you. And then we had one open-ended question. We wanted to, and this is enter in the chat. It's what products or services would you like to have on Mercer Island that are not presently here or you would like to see more of? So what is missing in your opinion, or there's not enough variety of that there on the island? So thanks for hanging in there. We're almost done. How are we doing, Michelle?
We are at 62%, so I can end the poll shortly.
And it looks like, as you can see, if you have visibility here, products and services was the top reason people go elsewhere. It's not available on Mercer Island. What the other products or services people specified is what they want to see more of on Mercer Island. I think we have one last one. Yeah, this is just a question we were curious about whether you are a business owner or resident. It may or may not apply. And it's if you've ever thought about starting a business on Mercer Island but haven't done it, what is the number one thing holding you back? Is it access to training and support? Is it your confidence, whether you think you can make it work? Is it the need for mentorship, or you're not sure how to start, or you need help creating a business plan, or you don't have enough startup capital, or you're concerned about, one of the reasons might be regulatory obstacles of business startups, such as permitting or getting licenses. You're concerned about the small market or limited audience on the island for your idea, or this question isn't appropriate, maybe because, oh, sorry, there's no appropriate, one of the answers was no appropriate commercial real estate for your business is available on the island. And then maybe it's because you have no time. And then not applicable means you either, you already started a business, you just have never thought about doing that, isn't an interest of yours. So hopefully one of those, what would be the top one there? And this is a single choice. So I think everyone should be able to see this one. Okay, so most of the people here said it was no appropriate commercial real estate. What wasn't the top one, but most people said it just wasn't applicable. Not something you've thought about. So, but it looks like that there are some people that just feel like the right spot is not available for them on the island right now. So I believe that is the last one, right? Yeah, so we're done with the polling. I really appreciate you all staying here. Can we go to the next slide? And so this is the wrap up. I'll let Adam and come back on our other city staff, but I just really want to emphasize that we have 20 people that came tonight, but there's a lot bigger community out there, and we hope you will help us get this message out. There is a project website out there. It's on the Let Talk feature, and it's the comprehensive plan update. And in there, you can find background information about comprehensive planning and some questions that you might have. There's also tabs where you can provide a public comment in a form on the website. And there's also more information that you can find there. And there'll be a tab in there that will be hopefully active tomorrow that will have another community survey. And that's where you could help us take it yourself, because that's another opportunity. It's a little bit longer and it gives you more space to answer and elaborate if our questions were too our answers provided for you were too short. So you can do that. It's going to be open for a month. But again, we're hoping to send out more information and get a wide spectrum of the community to answer it. And then if you have comments that you wanted to share now, there's the email up there. It's the COMP period plan at mercerisland.gov. And if you, those are for comments that you want to be taken into consideration. If you think that you're ready now to share some thoughts for staff and the work group. But if you just have some more questions and follow up that aren't answered in the documents, there's some good articles about comprehensive planning and the periodic update already on that webpage. You can also reach out to Adam, who you heard from earlier. He's sort of the lead on this, and also from Allison, who's the deputy director. So there's QR codes. Like I said, we'll put this on the website in case you want to go back and look at it, and the links are there too. Adam, do you have anything else you'd like to?
Well, I think just driving home that, yeah, the survey will get is a little more detailed than our poll questions tonight. And so if you felt like you didn't quite get to give your full feedback, the survey is a really great way to do that. And then also a note that the presentation and the recording of our presentation tonight will get posted on the project webpage as well. So we'll have a recording of this available if you want to share it with your friends and family.
And I appreciate everyone sticking it through this. It's a gorgeous day out there too. So thank you for your input. And that was hopefully at least spark some interest for you to move forward and answer the survey and share with friends and community members. Anything else?
No, thanks. Yeah,
Okay.
Thanks everyone.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Go enjoy the nice day.